Welcome everyone to Three Guys, One Music. My name is Jamie. I'm here with Mike and Grant, and we are Three Guys, One Music. Welcome everybody. How you guys
Hello.
doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing well. You guys getting excited for the holidays?
I can't wait.
Oh wow.
Feeling as
Lots of
usual.
enthusiasm.
Yes, sir.
Yay.
Well, I hope your turkey's huge.
That's what he said.
I had to stop and think.
Okay.
Are we going there? Phrasing.
All right. Do we want to start over? No, we're not going to start over.
Well, it's holiday humor.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk about our favorite female artists, and we haven't discussed this as usual, so I don't know exactly which direction each of us will go in.
Did you guys have trouble making your list, or was this one pretty easy?
It was fairly easy.
It was enlightening for me. Put it that way.
I had more than I thought, and I
Yeah.
narrowed it down just because of the music was interested me more. I
Mhm.
mean, not invalidating anyone else,
Okay.
Just I felt right now at this time I'm more into that.
Yeah, I have a very long list, so
Well, that I'm not surprised. You kind of you proposed this list, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait to hear it. I think I have some ideas about where you're going with this.
You just want to do
You
the whole
always say
thing?
that.
I always say that, but I've never been right. You've always taken a left turn where you're not going where I think you're going.
Try to keep it interesting.
You do keep it interesting. All right. Well, let's talk about what we've been listening to. I will go first. I've been listening to Red Fang, band from Portland, Oregon. For an obvious reason, I do like their music. I got turned on to them only, I don't know, a couple of years ago. They've been around for quite some time though.
Yeah.
But Mike was kind enough to share with me a video by the band Screaming Females. And that's how this got me into listening to Red Fang. And you might wonder how that would happen. Well, the guitar player and singer for Screaming Females uses an amp called a Sun Beta Lead, which was oddly enough mentioned on our previous episode. And I remember those amps, and they're 40, 45 years old, but they have a particular sound that some of the bands kind of prefer. And a lot of doom metal bands are a fan of them. But they have a particular sound that I'm attracted to. And I'm into solid state amps as well as tube amps, and that amp particularly. But Red Fang uses Sun Beta Lead as well. And there's a pedal that I just purchased that is that preamp. And I wanted to hear those guitar tones and was reminded how much I like the band. So I've been checking them out and just various records. And I've been listening to AC/DC's If You Want Blood, You've Got It live record, 1978.
Mhm.
It's one of the very first records I heard by them, if not the first. I think I might have heard it before Highway to Hell.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, through, well, I won't say who turned me on to it, but
That's weird.
and then I've been listening to Little Feat. Really just their greatest hits. The obvious stuff. I'm not a deep cut Little Feat guy, but
Yeah.
I do like the obvious stuff by them, and they're a great band. So that's what I've been checking out lately.
I agree. Little Feat is pretty awesome.
Yep.
Mhm.
Grant, what have you been tuning into?
Nothing particular. Very odd week. A lot of 80s miscellaneous through Sirius. Listen to some Rick Springfield podcast and just leaving it playing afterwards. And the thing that struck me of everything, they played a song by everyone's favorite Canadian band, Loverboy.
I love Loverboy.
Mhm.
And I do as well. And Tracy goes, and when the song first came on, she goes, "Is this Def Leppard?"
Well, what is the song?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
And I said, "No," chuckle. And then the song, I said, something sounds familiar. And I did a little quick Google search.
Oh, I
And
know what song it is, and I know who you're going to say. It's "Loving Every Minute of It." Mutt
yep,
Lange.
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's 3 strikes, Jamie. This is the third time you've said it before I could say it. That's
I
it.
want to be shocked.
And yeah, and you listen to it and you're like, oh yeah, I can hear what ended up being
Pour some
how
sugar on
some
me.
of Def Leppard's production sounded. And I was like, wow, I didn't ever think about it, because you don't think about it. You just, I hadn't heard that song in 15 years or more, probably. And I was like, wow. And it was cool that she heard that. And I just was listening to the song. It came on. I said, oh yeah, I hadn't heard this in a long, long time.
Yeah.
And she was like, this sounds like Def Leppard.
That's why it's great to have a fresh set of ears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere, and have them be objective, and they don't have an agenda
Preconceptions
or even like deep history with something. They can listen to it with fresh ears, and that's valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, in the right circumstance, surely that got you thinking about a different direction.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize Mutt Lange produced that record. I haven't investigated it, but I do like that song, and I've listened to that fairly recently, actually.
Mhm.
But I thought that was a Bruce Fairweather. I thought he produced all those records. I didn't know.
Yeah,
Well, I learned
I
something.
got on Google. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly in my head. I said, it's got to be Mutt. It's got to be him.
Did he
And it was.
co-write that song? Do you know?
I did not delve further.
Okay. I know he wrote a lot of stuff
Yeah.
for Def
Mhm.
Leppard, and he either wrote or co-wrote "Do You Believe in Love" for Huey Lewis.
Mm.
That's a co-write for him at the very least. So he's
I
a
think
prolific guy.
co-writes.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's in the
Lots of
studio and
co-writes.
they're searching for the chorus or the verse
Yeah.
or the whatever, and he knows his stuff.
What can you think of a more valuable producer that somebody can co-write a song and
That's
choose, to really do arrangements? I mean, you want somebody like him or Desmond Child or something. I mean, I think that those guys could all sonically do what you want to do, but I guess every producer's got their own tone, their own sound as well.
Mhm.
So that's cool.
Yeah, but it was just interesting.
Yeah, very.
Michael, what about you?
Oh, well, I started off the week with the Gap Band. Because Sunday morning, Sunday, I had to get up early I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I tried.
You just did.
Let's sing in
In the
harmony, guy.
morning. I got up early in the morning on Sunday with the Gap Band. Other than that, Michelle Ndegeocello, listened to a couple of her albums. Extraordinary producer, songwriter, musician. She has a lot to say, and she says it well. Good listen if you're not familiar. I highly recommend it. And the other day when you mentioned Red Fang, I'm like, oh, Red Fang, and I'm going to check them out. And I listened to that. It's been a heavy metal week. Red Fang. Listen to The Sword, band out of Austin, if you're not familiar with them.
Yeah, I've got several of the tracks. But do you consider the Red Fang heavy metal?
I mean, it's a type of metal, is it not? It's not really doom metal, is it?
No, it's not doom metal. I don't consider it metal.
Lower.
I just consider it a little on the heavy side, but I don't
Yeah.
consider them. Now,
Yeah.
The Sword, I kind of consider them metal.
Yeah, that's a fun band to listen to.
They're definitely a doom metal band.
Today, listening to Truck Fighters, which I
don't know
think
that.
is a Swedish band.
Mm.
They are definitely heavy metal. A lot of fun, just something to let go of the tension. So that's what I've been listening to. A little metal, little Michelle Ndegeocello, little Gap Band.
Well-rounded.
All good stuff.
Truck Fighters.
Do they fight trucks?
If they fought trucks and
they
played
win?
metal, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to know how
Maybe
to
they
pronounce
fought trucks
the-
with metal.
the band name in Swedish. In Swedish. I'm 6% Swedish, so I can say that. Get away with it. Cool.
To our Swedish fans out there, we apologize if we've
I
offended
don't know
anybody.
if one of my old friends, Mason, watches us on any regularity, but he is totally Well, he lived in Stockholm for a while
Mhm.
and married a Swedish girl and has a Swedish son. His son is actually, I think, a very successful UFC fighter,
Hmm.
Wow.
Liam Pitts.
Don't know that name.
Yeah. Well, he's
But
Mason's a good guy. He's a good bass player.
I've owned a number of Saabs, so I feel I can weigh in on the subject
Yeah.
of
Well,
Sweden.
let's see
If
if
it comes
another
to that, we'll see
Swedish
where this
act.
episode goes.
Yes, Swedish act may come up, may or may not. But let's go ahead and get into our topic. I will go first, if that's okay. And I just want to say that I really did think about artist versus singer. This is kind of like a little bit of both. These are all singers, as you would expect, but I'm not expecting you guys to go in the same direction that I went in.
Let's hope not.
Well, I don't expect you to because, the beauty of this, we don't hear things the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're fairly different. But, well, we'll see. I'm going to go with somebody who is, in my estimation, one of the best singers ever. And I would consider her a very substantial artist. And that's Karen Carpenter.
Oh yeah.
Just, technically just had tremendous pitch and just had one of those voices that resonated. There's a few people who have a voice like Elton John has got a voice that resonates in a certain way. James Taylor. These people have voices that are there's a lot of people who can sing great, but there's some people just have something that's just a little more special to my ears. Karen Carpenter is definitely one of those people. And she was just a tremendous, tremendous singer. And I just think she was a great artist because she
Yeah.
understood arranging with her brother, Richard Carpenter, what would make a song be as great as it could be. And
Yeah.
you have to be an artist to do that. You can't just be a singer, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's my first on my list.
Yeah, that's a
And
great choice.
she was, everybody wanted to hear her sing, but she really
Yeah.
wanted to be a drummer.
Mhm.
And there's plenty of videos on YouTube,
Yeah.
showing her skills as a drummer, and she certainly was skilled. In fact, I can't remember the song I saw recently,
Yeah.
but she was singing and playing at the same time, and that's difficult to sing and play the drums.
Had she come along 10 years later, who knows what kind of success they would have
Yeah.
had, but she would have been able to stay a drummer. But during that period of time with the Wrecking Crew and Hal Blaine played
Yeah.
on pretty much all those records, it was
I
just
think it's-
impossible to fight the system back
Yeah,
in
that
the
was
day.
I
just the
think
way
it's the type of music. too.
Records were made back then, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
just
that's-
think the industry would have like, no, we're having this guy play it. That's just the end of it.
yeah,
I-
get it
that's what
done faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, money's that's exactly
but
right.
She did have that voice that was that came across as very familiar and very
Yeah.
warm and inviting. So it was an easy voice to listen
Oh
to.
yeah, I can
know?
remember the first time. Well, not the very first, but I can remember how I felt when you first heard Superstar, and
Yeah.
it's just she just starts singing. It's like, wow,
She had a
is
combination
amazing.
of a vulnerability
yeah,
and
Yes.
total command of her instrument. And but she also was, and I say this with, she wasn't so beautiful that she was intimidating to men or women, but she was cute.
it
And
wasn't
as,
distracting.
as odd as that might sound, I think that she appealed to everybody because
Mhm.
she was like, you're not threatening to me, but yet I really would love to be like you. And when you think about, we can get into the psychology of, like a band that is so intimidating that they turn off young players. But
Mhm.
then you have a band come along that they say, well, I can do that. All of a sudden, I want to be like you because I can do that. And you're inspiring me. But
Mhm.
you have somebody who's just an unbelievable player, you're going to inspire some people, certainly, but some people are just going to say, well, I can't do that. That's not
Yeah.
appealing to me. I
Yeah,
think
those
that she had the perfect combination of all those factors. They were, I don't know, what would you call that? Middle of the road, easy listening. There was kind of a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
Uh, certainly not yacht rock, but
relaxing.
I think she just had the perfect combination of everything, that she had appeal to so many different people, and that was one of her qualities that made her successful. So,
Yeah.
but tremendous.
If I remember correctly, 75, 76, John Bonham was very upset when he found out that Karen Carpenter had won Best Drummer in Playboy magazine's Reader's Music Poll.
Oh, I don't know the story.
Yeah, she beat out John Bonham.
75. That seems
Yeah.
late to me, but that could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
73 would be
Somewhere.
73, 74.
Yeah,
Well, Houses of the Holy was 73. I would say Carpenters are probably on top of the world, as big as they ever were in 73, but it could have been 75.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong about the date, but
Oh, I
yeah,
don't know.
there was a time when she beat out John Bonham
Very interesting.
in the Playboy Readers Music Poll. I'm not sure how knowledgeable Playboy readers at the time were about music.
Or how serious they were like,
Or how
a-
serious.
a cute girl drummer, we'll vote for her instead of a scruffy bearded man.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't have anything to comment on that.
All right, Grant.
Grant,
Shock us, Grant. Who have you
Shock
chosen?
us. Okay, I'll shock you. My first choice is an artist that came from basically nowhere. I mean, she wasn't trying to even be that much of a well-known artist. She was just making songs, and the right people heard them. And Liz Phair got a record deal, and Exile in Guyville came out.
Yeah.
And it was very lo-fi, but
Yeah.
not in a pejorative way. It was lo-fi on purpose because it suited what she was doing. And she was probably the first one in the 90s, and probably the first one really of any female artist to really be frank about sexual themes, and stuff like that, and not just for shock value, but that's just how she felt about it and how she sang about it,
Mhm.
And I really was intrigued. I didn't hear any of those songs at first, but the songs I did hear at first, I was like, wow, how is she playing this? And she was not a schooled guitarist. And, a lot of people, Jamie, you said something about this before, when you don't know what you're doing, you might make up chords or voicings, and you don't really know what they're called, but it sounds cool. And,
Right.
it just has a distinct sound. And a lot of her early guitar playing has that distinct, like you can hear what she's playing, but you're like, what is that? It's very interesting.
I think
guitar
about
playing.
this all the time, probably more than I should. I've said this on many occasions, that you must have good ears
Mhm.
to be a forward-thinking musician. You can learn harmony and theory and do that, but to be creative, you have to have good ears, and your ears will tell you whether it's right or not, if it sounds good or not.
Mhm.
If it doesn't sound good, it's not right. If it does sound good, it's good.
Yeah.
And to me, it's that simple. And
It's good.
you have to use your ears. And to me, there's nothing more important than having good ears. I mean, I don't even care about technique, and I know a lot of people do. I have decent technique, and I used to have really good technique, but I don't care about it. I just care about feel and emotion and being musical. That's
Mhm.
all I care
Yeah.
about these days.
Yeah, I'm
So,
attracted to her songwriting and everyone I'm mentioning here,
yeah,
because it's a natural. It's not trying to be anything. It's just
I agree with that.
them and their thoughts
Yeah.
and their feelings, and it's a a truth to the artistry instead of sitting there thinking, what can I write that people will like? They're writing,
I
this is
agree with
what
that.
I'm writing, and if you'd like it, cool. If not, it's not going to bother me.
There's a song by her that I really am a big fan of. It's called Supernova.
Oh yeah, great
Yeah.
song.
That's one of my favorites. That's a few years after
Yeah,
the debut, but yeah, she's real. you
yeah,
know,
that's
and
on Whip Smart, I believe.
yeah, I
Super
think you're
Quiz,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like Liz Fair. She's cool.
Mhm. Yep.
Good choice.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I brought this subject up, and then when I visited it to make a list, there's so many female artists that I admire that I would want to talk about. I could make my own. I think I will make my own podcast. No, because I've got there's my list. There's the people I didn't include.
Wow.
Yeah, but I stuck with singers mainly because there are plenty of musicians who certainly deserve your respect and attention.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a list of people I haven't mentioned yet. In past episodes, I've mentioned a handful, actually quite a few female artists, but I'm trying to narrow it down to bring you into my world. Okay. So let's start with PJ Harvey. I know I mentioned her once before, but she deserves another shout out. PJ Harvey
And that's why I didn't mention her, because I knew you were going
you
to.
knew it was going to be on my
Yeah.
list. What a great artist. The thing she does seem to have limited musical ability, limited vocal range, but she puts it all out there. She makes the most of everything she's got, and it's so passionate and original. PJ Harvey, I would let her do things to me.
Okay.
Musically.
Well, yeah, musically.
Okay.
Let's say musically. Yeah. But I just love her, songs like Dress and Down by the Water.
Oh, the first three
Um,
albums. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Even later stuff like This Is Love is a great
Yeah.
rocking song. And she's done a lot of different styles in the many albums she's recorded. So PJ Harvey is a really great artist, I think. She's at the top of my list tonight.
I was thinking when I went through basically everything that I currently have on my phone. It's the stuff that I listen to more or less all the time, and I change it up, but I have kind of a core of things that I always want to have on there.
Yeah.
And I know my catalog pretty well. As I've stated before, I have over $40,000 in purchased iTunes content, the stuff that I want to always have. I am not a streamer, unlike the majority of the population. I don't like the sound quality of it. I'm in the minority, but it's expensive to do what I do, and I'm insane enough to do it. But the stuff that I have purchased, I was surprised at. Now, I have some artists that may or may not be mentioned that I don't want to name yet. They go back to the 50s and 60s. And there are a lot of different artists, but these are the ones that I listen to most of the time. And I don't want to necessarily say that they are more important, but these are the artists that mean as much to me as any that I can think of.
Right.
And they are primarily singers. But the next person that I'm going to mention is who I consider one of maybe my favorite female singer. And she was an interpreter of songs. She never wrote any songs, not that I'm aware of. And that's Linda Ronstadt. She just had just this amazing ability to connect with people. And also, again, she had a vulnerability to her voice. She was an attractive woman. She had this vulnerability, kind of the girl next door, but she just had this big, bold voice and really a musical sensibility. And I like what she did with all the interpretations of her songs. I don't prefer her version to the originals necessarily, but she did a great job on many of the songs she interpreted. But I am I've always been a big fan of her voice. So she's going to be my number 2 choice.
Cool.
Nice.
Another who comes across as very approachable
Yeah.
in
I'd
the
say
way
so.
she presents the music.
Yeah.
Cool.
I agree. I concur.
All right, second choice. I'm going to go with someone who's known for her singing and piano playing. And again, being very honest with her music, very artist driven, not necessarily commerce driven. Tori Amos. Seen her multiple times live. Always a fantastic show, and she always has impeccable side musicians.
Yeah.
So it's a treat as well, just for a musician to watch musicians at the top of their game.
Yep.
But yeah, she's very candid in what she's written about experiences, traumas. And that's, again, a lot of my artists are writing about their experiences, because as men, we don't really know what's going on with their women a lot of times.
Right.
So it's nice to listen to an honest, forthright female perspective, brutally honest sometimes, and it makes you upset sometimes, to have shrugged off. Sometimes you don't take people seriously, and a lot of times men don't take women seriously enough sometimes, and but it's very it's heartfelt but brutal at the same time. And I really, again, from an artistry standpoint, they're just putting it out there. But yeah, she's got a whole amazing catalog, and her live shows have always been amazing as well.
I do have a comment. Now Mike might have been the person that turned me on to Tori Amos. I don't remember exactly. I might have been aware of her, but I think you might have been the first person that really let me know, yeah, I really like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I never connected with Tori Amos, but I know why. It's not because I don't think she's good. And just listening to what you just said, and this will be no shock to anybody that watches our podcast or you two, I'm not a lyric guy. They just have never impacted me or affect me. I don't pay any attention to them. To me, they're just phonetics.
Mm-hmm.
And I lose out on that deal, because there's a lot of fantastic poets out there that have just said these fantastic images along with great music. I'm the one that loses out, but my brain does not connect with those type of artists. So they never connect with me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I do think about this on somewhat regular basis. Whenever I hear you guys talk about bands, I'm like, well, what are you guys listening for? You guys clearly listen to music differently than I do. And I don't know. I mean, you can't get into somebody else's head.
I listened for everything combined. And if a song has amazing lyrics, but the music to me just doesn't work, it ruins the song for me, and vice versa as well. If someone has the most beautiful music I've ever heard, and they've just half-assed the lyrics just to get something out, I'm like, why did you ruin that music?
Now, this would be an interesting episode. I don't know that I could really contribute very much, but I'd love to have an episode where I hear the two of you talk about phenomenal music and terrible lyrics, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting for me, just as an
think about that.
observer and a listener, because I truly don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like the John Lennon school, where the lyrics were just sometimes gibberish.
Yeah.
Sometimes not. There was some deep lyrics there, but sometimes it was just like, let's put something in there, and does it really make sense? I'm that kind of person. I am not. And I think about this, and we haven't discussed this, but before the podcast officially started, I contacted Mike, said, hey, I want you to be a part of this, and let's try to get together once a week and come up with some lyrics. And I realized very quickly, Mike was like super prolific and spitting them out, and I couldn't even begin to compete with that. I thought, I can't do this. It's really, really challenging for me. My brain doesn't work that way. I would have to really, really work hard for weeks and weeks to come up with something that meant something to me.
Mhm.
I just don't operate that way. My brain is all about notes and harmony. It's just the way I hear things. And I would love to be able to peek inside your brains to hear how you guys hear things, just so I could see, because I don't
Yeah.
know. But we're all so different what we listen for.
It's
Yeah.
odd that you're not a lyric guy for as much
I'm
as you like
not.
to talk.
I know. It is
as
odd,
much
isn't it?
as much as I struggle to speak during these podcasts, it's amazing that I write.
Well, there
so
you go.
much.
We're on
So
two opposite ends
that's-
of the
that's-
spectrum. Yeah.
yeah, we need to meet in the middle. But let me just say, Tori Amos followed her from the start. Tremendous artist. She's again someone so passionate. She brings the fire. She brings the emotional
She's a real deal.
content and the intensity to the music, and that's what makes it. Even the small songs were, but yeah, it's a great choice. I love her, and North Carolina native.
Mhm.
So
Is she? I did not know that.
yeah, she's from North Carolina,
From Newton.
Newton, North
Oh,
Carolina.
wow. That's like near Lenore.
Yeah, it's west of
Okay.
here. Yeah,
I just know the name. I don't know where it is.
I've been there.
She's from Newton.
I've
Where's
been there.
that? I don't know.
I've done X-rays in that location.
Nice. I've delivered packages in that location.
Never been there.
You're not missing much.
Starcrawler lead singer Arrow DeWild is just a maniac. Starcrawler is a crazy band I saw recently. They opened up for another in Chapel Hill, and Arrow DeWild is just like the perfect rock and roll front person. She's got an amazing rock voice. She's got an amazing presence. Their songs from their first release, Ants, to Roadkill, I think, is off their latest album, and Bet Your Brains, or Bet My Brains is what they call it. All of their songs. I think they've only got 3 albums, maybe 4, but Starcrawler is amazing, and the center focus of that band is Arrow DeWild, and she's very young. The whole band is very young, but making their niche in the world. Right now, they're touring Australia, but if you get a chance to see him or just get a chance to listen to him, I highly recommend it.
Send me a
She's
link.
very, very charismatic. Very wow.
Okay.
She will catch your attention, but she's very good at what she does. She's a great performer.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Send me a
the
link
name,
on that. I
Starcrawler.
would love to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm open to being turned on to new people. Actually, I'm going to take a left turn on one of my picks.
Hold on. Find my seatbelt.
My seatbelt's not attached. Okay.
Okay.
Well, you had mentioned, you made me think of somebody who I took a Skype lesson from quite a few years ago that I consider, she's a fantastic musician.
Is he gonna cry?
It's a bit of a stretch to say she's a fantastic artist, but she's not a singer. But I think she contributed so much to the artistry as a session musician back in her heyday.
This is a bass player?
Bass player.
Gotcha.
I am such a fan of her bass playing and her musicality. Trained jazz musician on guitar before she ever picked up a bass. Only picked up a bass out of necessity.
Mhm.
And really, really played on some of the greatest rock hits of the 60s and 70s. And then she went into the TV and movie industry
Mhm.
for a long time. But that person's name is Carol Kay.
Fantastic.
And I am just a huge fan of hers. Like I said, favorite artist, it's a bit of a stretch. But I think she made her mark on the industry. And, so that's maybe a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to go
allow
with
it.
it.
No,
I'll allow it.
not at all. She is OG, tremendous
Oh yeah, for real.
player.
Big, big fan.
Yeah, right up there with the best.
She was very easy to work with online as well.
Yeah,
Challenged me.
Nice.
that's cool. You got to meet her and work with her.
Yeah, she was cool. She actually gave me probably 45 minutes extra time than that we had allotted. She was
Oh,
really gracious and generous with her time. So,
That's cool.
and she communicated by email for, and was very generous with all the credits. And she sent me some pics, and it was very cool. So, yeah,
nice, nice.
great memory. Wish her well.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
All right. Well, I'm going with someone who I have mentioned previously. I was trying not to do that, but I'm going to throw Nina Simone in there again.
I had a feeling you might.
We don't really have to. I mean, we've discussed her before, and what else can you say that's
Also a North Carolina native.
Mhm.
Yep.
But
Go North Carolina.
just amazing, amazing, amazing.
She was just an
She was-
extraordinary talent. I mean, she grabbed the spotlight, man. She was a force of nature.
Yeah. She's so confident. I think that's the thing about her that always impressed me. Just
Mhm.
so confident. Jeez. Just
You almost had to be back then as a woman and as a
Yeah.
woman of color, because
Yeah.
if there was any
weakness.
weakness or any perceived
Yeah.
hole in the armor, then someone could use it against you and make you, maybe even make you doubt yourself. So
Yeah.
I totally get why that overwhelming wall of confidence was presented.
Big personality.
Yeah.
You
Has
can
always got
imagine-
the sense of-
I was going to say, you can imagine how someone so talented might be taken advantage of if they were
Oh yeah.
allowed themselves to. So yeah,
Mhm.
she kind of had to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good for her. And yeah, just the music alone is awesome. Love her.
I'm a big fan.
All right, we're burning through these. Okay, we'll go with this. Sierra Farrell. I don't know if you guys have heard her. She's been all over NPR. She's been on different news segments recently. Out of West Virginia, Sierra Farrell is a country musician. She is old country. If you think country stopped in 1977, well, you can listen to Sierra Farrell. She's kind of a throwback to that old type of country with a more modern, I won't say a modern edge, but she's got something to her that makes her stand out. Beautiful artist and wonderful music. I don't know how many albums she has out. I listened to her last two, or her first two. I listened to two of them. I don't know which they are.
Did the middle two.
Long Time Coming and Trail of Flowers are the two albums I listened to back, and they just get better. And
Wow.
if you want to hear that old school country music style, she's got it in spades. She's a wonderful up and coming artist. I hope she'll come this way. She's touring with someone else as an opening act, but yeah, I look forward to hopefully seeing her live.
I've heard the name,
the
but I
future.
haven't checked her out. I'm
I
Yeah.
don't know that I've heard her name.
now.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Sierra Hull, who's a bluegrass musician who I'm a big fan of.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's not on my list. I should write her
Yeah.
in. My single podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with for my fourth choice, somebody who really, I think, again, technically one of my favorite singers ever, but also was such an important part of a phenomenon in the 70s. She is the queen of this genre. I would say most people would agree. But she just has so many great songs that when I just think of an artist that has so many songs that you just can't deny that there was something there. You don't have to wear their t-shirt and say, yeah, I'm a big fan, but you just can't deny it. And I don't think there's any shame in saying it, but I'm a huge fan of Donna Summer. She's just a fantastic, she was a fantastic singer. I just always enjoyed her delivery.
Yeah.
And she, again, had impeccable pitch. Her ears were phenomenal. She just, I listen to these singers like Frank Sinatra, I've said before. The guy he must have had perfect pitch. His intonation was incredible.
Yeah.
I just pay attention to those type of singers, and I also like more ragged singers with a lot of personality. But when I hear these singers that really just are perfect, I
Yeah.
just I tune right into it, and it's easy for my ears to listen to
Yeah.
because I do think of myself as somebody who has good ears. But I am a huge fan of Donna Summer, and I keep her greatest hits on my phone at all times because I just love so many of her songs. So
Yeah.
not afraid to say that.
Nice.
As a child, it seemed like disco exploded
Yeah.
76, 77, and she quickly grabbed the throne for
Queen of disco.
and she
Mhm.
certainly deserved it. Tremendous talent.
Yeah,
Amazing.
she had all that success.
Yeah.
And she was on Casablanca Records along with Kiss.
Yeah.
Kiss being when you think about the bands from the 70s or the artists from the 70s, like a lot of decades, you had kind of like two different worlds of music. You had the rock world, which was super, super successful, FM rock, and then you had disco. Those were probably the three big successes of the 70s. I mean, then you had punk rock happen as well. That was really important culturally in the world, but not necessarily in the US, I don't think so much. But disco, FM rock, and then hard rock. Those were the three big things of the 70s. And she was almost single-handedly responsible for the success of disco.
Mhm.
I mean, there were other artists, but nobody competed with her.
Yeah.
I don't know too many, with the exception of the Bee Gees.
Yes, I was getting ready to say, yeah.
The Bee Gees
Think
were
of
just,
almost automatically when you.
well, those guys were just fantastic songwriters.
Mhm.
They could write in any genre.
Yeah.
I could never say anything bad about those guys. We were just discussing another 70s hit that they wrote and
Yeah.
contributed to another artist. It's just, they were just so prolific. It's just sickening how prolific they were. They wrote so many great songs. It's crazy. They just hit this sweet spot in the mid 70s where just everything they did was just like fantastic.
Mhm.
And I have nothing but respect.
Yeah.
So
Same.
that's so Donna Summer's my guy, or my choice rather.
Okay.
Alrighty. I'm gonna save her for last. I'm gonna go. I've mentioned Lana Del Rey before. Again, a songwriter who writes from an honest, sometimes brutal perspective. And the production she has on her albums is almost second to none for the lushness, the depth, the breadth, whatever else you want to say. Has she written a couple songs that I don't like? Yeah, they all have. But for the most part, she's nailed it, That's all I can say. Like I said, I mentioned her before, but I'm gonna mention her.
I just want to say something because, of course, I like to hear the sound of my own voice. I think about this a lot recently because I'm getting into songwriter headspace, and I saw something recently. I'm going to make a comment about what you just said about Lana Del Rey writing a couple songs you didn't like. The fact that somebody is writing enough that you say, I don't like those two, but I like those others. I respect that.
Mhm.
I wonder whenever I let you guys hear what I'm working on, whether you're going to go, I don't really dig that. I don't know. I can't really worry about it. I have to
No.
stick to my
Yeah.
vision, and I have to just do what I do because I trust my instincts. But
That's the
you
thing. You're
have
writing
to
for
be-
you. You're not writing for us. You're writing
well,
for you.
everybody loves a pat on the back and a cheerleader, but you have to be confident in your vision. And if you're just looking for somebody for moral support, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, I don't think I like every song of. I don't think there's an artist that I like every single song of. I mean, it's almost impossibility for that to happen because how can
well, that
you're going
would
to
be
write
very
something that
tough.
might not be your cup of tea. It's
Yeah,
still
well-
not. It might not be bad. It just might not be. That's not my favorite.
Well, I also saw this video last week, maybe last Thursday or Friday, that was inspirational to me. That is essentially comes down to this: is like they were talking about Jack White's work ethic of writing. I like Jack White. I'm not a huge fan, but I totally respect the guy because he's a hard worker and he constantly putting out product.
Yeah.
I have to respect that. I don't have to like all of it,
Mhm.
but I like more of it than I don't like some of it. So, but the basic idea was Luther Dickinson was the guy who was, they were interviewing, and he said, he really respected the fact that being creative and coming up with stuff just doesn't appear. It just doesn't happen. I have in my mind thought, yeah, well, okay, I'm ready. Come get me. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
It might take you 15 minutes. It might take you 15 hours to get into the zone. You have to put in the work to get in the right headspace to write. It's hard for everybody. And sometimes you get into that like zone and you just really pump them out, but it's work, man. And
Yeah.
it just was really inspirational for me to see somebody talk about you have to put in the work and be ready to receive.
Mhm.
It's not just going to appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But you have to make the time to do it. And it's
Yeah, you
that's
might-
tough
you might
as you
sit around and
work
play
full
guitar
time. It's hard.
5 hours to get one little snippet of something that's
Right.
aha.
Well, I think it's also for me, I've got my studio set up here and to put in the time to maybe put in 5 hours of work, that's a lot
Mhm.
for me to do. But in order for me to come up with the stuff, my goal is before the end of the year to come up with at least 2 pieces, but certainly one devoted to the podcast for the theme. I'd like to have that happen. Hopefully it's something we can all agree on, but I have some ideas, but you have to put in the work, So when I think about any artist that puts out enough songs that somebody can say, well, I don't like everything she does, or they do. I totally respect that artist just for coming up with enough
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
So that's just where, I was, my little lean to the left or rant on that. It wasn't,
Just the way you
any
feel.
slide on what you said, but it just made me think that, hey, she's putting out enough work that somebody could say, I
Yeah.
don't like everything she does. I respect that.
I understand that,
So
that's how you think about that.
that's how I think about that. I'm not wearing that shirt, but I should be wearing that shirt.
Okay, I'm gonna skip over that one too because that's a good one for last. But speaking of amazing songwriters, performers, singers, Rihanna and Giddens started out with Carolina Chocolate Drops, made quite an impact. Their album "Leaving Eden," I think, is their last one as a group, is amazing. But she's gone on to a stellar career, and if you listen to her album "Freedom Highway," you know what I'm talking about. Folk singer, writer, composer, arranger. She's been involved. She's even been an actress in, I can't remember the TV show, but she's just a great talent. And if you like that kind of music, check her out. Another Greensboro native, North Carolina.
What's her name again?
Rhiannon Giddens.
I don't know this artist.
No, plays
I don't
banjo, violin.
What kind of show was she an actress on?
Is some kind of cop show, like
Oh, wow.
something like that.
You stumped me again.
God, I used to
And
be-
her songs were on the show, and I
Oh,
think,
wow.
yeah. But she's just a great performer. Plays old school, old time kind of folk song. She plays fiddle and banjo, the original banjo, the fretless banjo. So
Oh, wow.
quite an interesting type of music if you're not familiar with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love for you to send me a link. I am not familiar with this person.
I'll try and send you something.
Okay, so this is the final choice.
It's a final
A
game.
lot of different directions I could go here as I look at you two and ponder my thoughts. These are all important artists. And there's really 2 that are really, really, I could go either way on them. But I'm going to go with Madonna.
Thanks for joining us. Tune in next week when we
Bye,
talk.
everybody. Thanks for stopping
I was
by.
never a huge Madonna fan, but she understood the industry and how to make the most of what she had.
Well, there's no denying that.
That's well, there's a talent to that.
Yeah.
You can't, just because you're not gifted. Now there was somebody else that I really could easily have gone with, that we are all fans of. And but she had a smaller window in the industry where she made a huge impact.
Mhm.
Madonna's impact lasted longer. And I have to respect that. And what that's due to, I don't know if that's due to luck or the way the industry was or technology. I don't know. But she is a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Madonna is a legend.
Mhm.
And these other artists I have total respect for. And if we have time, I'll mention them. But she has so many songs that I never would say, man, I really want to check out that new Madonna record. But I will say this. I can remember a time where Steve Vai said in an interview, I love that new Madonna record because of the production. That's the thing that you have to take into account to all these different recordings. It's not necessarily what the message is. It's not due to the instrumentation. It just might be everything.
Yeah.
To me, the lyrics definitely don't mean anything. I mean, I don't have it. They don't make any impact on me. I could care less about that, really. Which again, I know that that puts me in the minority, and you know,
Well, there's
but
nothing
it's
wrong
just
with
the
that.
way it is.
You're such
They
a
just,
material girl, Jamie.
I'm just not.
She certainly forged her own way, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
She
admirable.
she rolled up her
yeah.
sleeves and she made it happen.
She was determined. She
Yeah.
was determined to do what she had to do to become a success, and
And
she knew she was only gifted with certain amount of vocal ability, and she made the most of it. And
yeah.
I just respect that, but I I have to look at it in terms of artistry and influence. It's not just that she's the greatest. There are other singers that I could mention and artists that I think are better artists,
Mhm.
but she is more important. And I think she is a great artist there's just no denying that she'll be remembered 50 years from now. I don't know if a couple of these other people will be remembered as well, so I really wanted to go with another person who I have total respect for their um just authenticity. I
Mhm.
can't say Madonna's maybe authentic all the time or has been. This person is authentic all the time. I really want to mention that person, but just had to go with Madonna because she's had a greater window of success.
Yeah, more
So
of a pop culture phenomenon as
Mhm.
well.
she's a legend. She's
It's
a legend.
Michael Jackson
Just
or
exactly.
there's nobody that doesn't know Madonna because of how it was in the
Right.
pop culture,
Yeah.
There was a lot of musicians who are more artist
Right.
driven. They don't strive for that. Madonna wanted to be queen of the world, like Michael Jackson wanted to be king of pop, and they
Right.
went for it. They didn't. It was what they wanted, and a lot of artist driven music is they don't care one whit about that. They're putting out their artistry to put
Yeah,
it out
but
there.
when you think about going from Lucky Star and Borderline and Holiday, which are catchy songs, they're well written,
Mhm.
to Take a Bow, which is I always thought that was a great song, the Babyface song from 95, 94.
Mhm.
That's a great song. She interpreted that song that he wrote and put her spin on it brilliantly. And the instrumentation and production on that song is fantastic.
Yeah, well, I like her more serious, like Live to Tell, stuff like that. I like more serious Madonna than more pop Madonna.
Well, me too. I would say I would agree with you, but Dress You Up, Into the Groove, it's pretty good pop music,
Mhm.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So I don't have to defend it. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Deal
All
with
right.
it.
We got it. All right. My final choice is I was gonna insert a Beyonce joke, but I'm not going to.
There's still time.
Juliana Hatfield.
Oh, okay.
For those not familiar, she was in a little band called the Blake Babies a long time ago,
Yeah.
and broke away from that and had a solo career and had a more successful solo career. And I've probably seen her live 6 or 7 times.
Oh, wow. I would
Always,
love to see her.
yeah, always a fantastic show, and she is quite a really good guitar player as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Her
but
1993 release, Become What You Are, was one of my very favorite. It is one of my favorite records of the 90s.
mhm.
I listened to that record so much, I can't even tell you. It's one of my favorite records of that period, easily.
Yeah,
I
and it
love the
still holds-
songwriting on it.
still
I
hold
love
up,
her
yeah.
instrumentation, her vocals. I love everything about that record.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of hers. I really am.
but yeah, she's up there in my book.
I would say that when Mike and I were playing together, I was listening to Juliana Hatfield a lot,
Mhm.
because I know that I got that record. I saw the video for My Sister pretty much right when it came out.
Yeah,
I had to be listening. I might not have let Mike know that, but I was listening to that record all the time back then.
I was too.
Late 93 and 94.
That's very creative guitar playing,
Yeah, it
not
is.
your typical what you expect. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
which I can hear she's doing something different.
Yeah, Supermodel was the first track off that record, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just great arrangement in my opinion.
but yes, that
With the
whole
vocals,
album
words.
is so strong.
It is a
There's not a
strong
bad
album.
song on that album, and the production is right there, like you're sitting there listening to him
Right.
play, and I love that visceral feel you get from listening to that album.
Mhm.
I'm a fan. I like it.
Good one. All right. Seems like we keep coming back to North Carolina, and that's okay. Because I'm going to talk about Hope Nichols.
Mm.
Hope
Again, I do
Nichols,
not know this person.
First, oh yes, you do.
Do I?
First piece of fame was with Greensboro band Fetchin' Bones.
Oh,
They
okay.
had a MTV hit with Love Crushing, and they
Oh,
did
yeah.
a super recording of Super Freak by Rick James. A lot of fun. Later on, after the band broke up, she formed Squatweiler,
Oh, yes.
and we went to see Squatweiler.
Yes.
They had a radio hit. Zsa Zsa was just an amazing song. And what's another one? There's several songs. I should put my glasses on if I'm trying to read. Bring on the UFOs is a great example. I think Squatweiler had 3 or 4 albums, but very energetic band. She is just a loose cannon. She is just wild and energetic and just so great, so charismatic. And I would let her do things to me.
Okay. Does anybody want to mention Fergie before we end up the list?
But we went to Jamie. You and I went with Mickey to see Squatweiler in Greensboro,
Yes.
and I can't remember the club. Was it not Fuzzy Ducks? What was it? I don't know.
We also saw the Sex Police there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
It was a
remember that.
They were
different
great.
time.
Well, another North Carolina band.
Yeah,
Sex Police, I really like a
But,
lot. They were great.
I don't know if you remember, but Kim told you that you had to go with me because I couldn't be left alone with Hope Nichols in the club or something
do.
like that.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So, but that's my choice. I think Hope is still just amazing. I love her.
I can't say I remember anything about that gig.
Yeah. Or remember there's a young punk band who really didn't know their instruments and they were giving it their all. And then we were talking about it the next day and it inspired us to write the song Spank Me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because we were messing around with the chords saying this is how they played.
I
And
want you to
of course-
send me a file of Spank Me so we can play that on
Okay.
the
The song,
podcast.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to send you the wrong file.
Who called the song
Joking.
Spank Me? Was that me or you?
I don't
I'm going to
recall.
say I'm guilty of that.
You think so?
I think that
Okay.
might
I
be
think I'm
yours.
guilty. I think I'm guilty of it. Does that seem right?
Because the other, I have to come up with something crazy. The other instrumental we had was called Transgender Dominatrix.
Well, that's definitely your.
So that was
I
my
remember
title.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not that fluid with my
Lyrical.
words.
You're not that
Yeah,
lyrical.
lyrical. Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah, I've had
Okay.
to, I've got a very long list of women I'd love to talk about.
Yeah, let's just go through a couple that
Sure.
we've got a minute. Let's just go with a couple people that we each think a lot of. We just didn't have time for. I'm going to mention Joni Mitchell, incredible artist. I have deep, deep respect for.
Yeah.
And also Stevie Nicks,
Mhm.
who was maybe one of the most powerful personalities that really was a great songwriter and carved her own path as a solo artist.
Yes.
That
She earned
really
my
was
respect after
really in control.
really earned my respect after Fleetwood Mac's showing
Right.
that she could go it alone.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. And then I want to mention Carole King, such a phenomenal songwriter,
Definitely.
and impacted so many different artists as a songwriter, and then had her own, huge record with Tapestry in '71.
Yeah.
She wasn't really able to duplicate that success later, but she's got so many phenomenal songs, and she achieved that at such a young age. I think she's still only about 40. I mean, 80 or something. She was born in mid 40s.
Mhm.
She's I think I'm right about that. She's still young enough that she was able to enjoy all that adulation and success, and not, have it be only for a few years. She experienced all that stuff, and she's a tremendous songwriter. So lots of respect for her. So I just wanted to mention those couple people, 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
Well, I left off the country aspect by no fault, but I'm thinking Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn,
Yeah.
Patsy Cline as a singer.
Patsy Cline. Wow.
You know, no shade on them. I just chose those instead.
And I just want to say briefly, I did think about this. When I analyzed my music catalog, it is predominantly male, and it's mostly pop and rock. It's very little country, and it's just what I have to be true to myself, what I typically listen to. But I totally respect Loretta Lynn
Yeah.
and what Tammy Wynette and these artists. Dolly Parton. Geez,
Yeah.
Dolly Parton might be the greatest songwriter of all those people.
Mhm.
She wrote her music, and she was prolific, and I would say she probably is more deserved than anybody in that genre for carving her own path.
So many people covered her songs too.
Yes.
You know?
There you go. So total respect.
But
I just
Patsy
don't have
Cline
to
just has Patsy
Oh,
Cline
yeah,
just
that
has the most
voice.
amazing voice.
Cool.
Man, I
It's
love to hear her
probably the
sing.
greatest voice. I have a
And
story I'll share with you guys off air
yeah.
about Patsy Cline. I don't
Well,
know that I ever told you this.
Loretta Lynn, I think, was always looking for a fight, whether it's You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man or
Yeah.
just Welcome to Fist City. She's always looking to give somebody
You're
a
not
The
gonna
Fist
get one
City.
over on her.
love Loretta Lynn. But yeah. Some that are obviously influential in my youth, if you know me, I mentioned Dimon Nogales before. Not something I can recommend to everybody. It's very much art. It's shocking. It's
I thought you were going to mention her.
no, I've mentioned her twice before at least. And if
Wow.
if you really want to get the full artist experience, Mask of the Red Death is shocking. I remember seeing video of it where she sang the song on a crucifix, drenched in blood, naked. So it is. It's not for the wee ones, but artists
Perfect for
like
Thanksgiving.
yeah, definitely turn that on for after the family meal. Artists like Nina Hagen, West German artist. I love Nina Hagen, man. Her version of White Punks on Dope. Her song New York, New York. So Bad, a more modern hit, which Utah Saints did a great remix of that. But even by itself, Nina Hagen she is just what's the word I'm looking for? She's just so big and in your face and just a ball of energy. She's fantastic. Kate Bush is one. I wish I could
Thought you
talk
were going to
about.
mention her.
I
I'm
could talk
surprised.
about Kate Bush at length, man.
Yeah.
Every album she's made, from Wuthering Heights to Cloud Busting, and obviously Running Up That Hill. So many great songs, and an extraordinary artist, a true artist, with painting a picture with their music. And the usual suspects I've talked about, Courtney Barnett. Let me just read my whole list. No, I'm not going to do that to you. But
I did want to mention Chrissy Hine, though, just briefly. Chrissy
Yeah.
Hine is one of those authentic artists that I was gonna. It's really toss up between her and Madonna, but again, there's a smaller window of time where she made an impact she's still got a healthy career. The Pretenders are very well respected, and I love those few records that I think are phenomenal. But they were basically the James Honeyman Scott records. Those two
Yeah.
are heads above everything else, in my opinion. Learning to Crawl's great, and there were some couple others, and she's had some recent ones that I like, but it's just not as big
Yeah.
as so. I just couldn't choose her, but I have total respect for her, and she's authentic. She's a real deal.
Yeah. Those early ones were really great. And she has a
Yes.
very unique voice.
Yes.
Makes her stand out.
Definitely. All right. Well, this was fun. I hope that we all learned something. I learned a couple of things listening to you guys. I hope you guys maybe picked up something, and the people out there listening and watching. But we will see you guys next week. And as always, please like and subscribe, and please comment if you have any comments on what we missed, what we left out. Love to know your thoughts.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week.
All right. Be well.